Welcome back, everybody. If we could stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance. Supervisor Topanelli, could you lead us, please?
Sure, Mr. Chair, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, could we please report out, not read out, from closed session?
Yes. Report out for today's closed session. Item 1, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2, conference with legal counsel, re-anticipated litigation, 1 case, significant exposure to litigation, board action, no reportable action taken.
Thank you, and we'll move on to staff announcements.
Good morning, Board. Lisa Medina and Shauna Morales with CCAS, and we also have several of our CCAS staff on board today. So this is Bailey. She is a Rottweiler mix. She is almost 2 years old. She's been with us for over a year. She came to us injured, but we got her to the vet and took care of her injuries and her sicknesses. We receive very many animals and get calls out for service that have animals that are injured or need to be seen by the veterinarian. She's a very affectionate pup. She loves people. She doesn't care for female dogs too much, so she likes the male dogs. So we're looking to find a home where she has a companion of a male dog. She's very sweet. She loves people. She's very quiet in her kennel. She's just a good, sweet dog. And we're looking to place her in a forever home. So we're presenting Bailey, and she's quiet. She will need a surgery. It's called a TPLO surgery. It's kind of similar to an anterior cruciate ligament in humans, and that surgery is quite pricey. We're looking at doing some fundraising specifically for Bailey, but we wanted to highlight her since she's been with us for so long, and she does need that surgery. But we're looking at funding experiences and things that we can do to help Miss Bailey along and get into a home. So with that, we have another announcement, which is pretty exciting. On Valentine's Day, on Saturday the 15th from 11 to 2, we are going to have a speed dating event not for humans, but for the four-legged kind. So we're going to be setting up this event at the shelter, and what it's going to be is pretty much an adoption event. No kissing by any humans, just the dogs, and maybe the humans will get chocolate kisses, but that's it. So we're not doing any of that. And it's called the CCAS Speed Dating Adoption Event. And the purpose of this event is to highlight our animals that we have at our shelter, and also to get notification out to our constituents and to our public about the services and things that we offer at the shelter. At any given time, we have up to 40 to 50 animals, Shauna, in the shelter, and we have several that are in need of adoption. Bailey is one of those cases where she's a sweet dog, and she's going to need some assistance from her humans if we don't take care of it first. But also to educate our public on the things that we do day in and day out. We will also have Focus and also Gimme Shelter representatives at this event, so we're looking forward to that as well. And our goal is to get at least one animal adopted. That's our goal. We've been pretty successful at our last events, huh, Shauna, where we've had at least one animal adopted at each one of our events. Shauna will not be up for adoption again, I just want to say, even though I would adopt her. And so we're looking forward to that event. And if you have any additional questions, I'm here to answer them, and or Shauna or any of our other CCAS staff.
Did you adopt our friend from the last meeting yet?
Ace is still with us.
Okay, and he wasn't ready to be adopted yet?
He's ready to be adopted.
He is?
Yeah, he's ready to go.
She's been with us the longest out of anybody so far. I believe she was with us since December of last year.
Yeah.
Could I ask you, sponsored adoption, wasn't Bailey a sponsored or not?
Bailey can be a sponsored adoption, you bet.
Yeah, but I noticed there were two on the board. What does that mean?
So that just means that they've either been sponsored by another entity, which means their adoption fees are paid for, their vaccines, everything. They're good to go out the door. All you need to do is call us up and say, I want this dog to be part of my family, and that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. She's very photogenic too. Look at her. Look how.
Any other questions? Thank you, Lisa.
Well, thank you so much. And again,
Sean.
thank you for this opportunity and
Thank you,
letting us
Bailey.
bring the animals. Thank you, Sean. And that is all I have.
Thank you.
you.
Morning, Judy.
Good morning. Judy Hopkins, Human Resources Director. I am very happy to be before you today to introduce Micah Martin, who joined us yesterday as our Public Works Director.
Good morning, Board. I'm really excited to be here with Calaveras County. I come from Southern California. I have a lot of experience in the public works industry, and I'm excited to put that to good use here in the county and to work with such an amazing team in the Public Works Department. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We look forward to working with you. Captain?
Morning, Board, Mr. Chair, CEO, Council, and Madam Clerk. I'm here. My name is Tim Sturm. I'm a captain with the Sheriff's Office, but today I'm here as the unit leader of the Calaveras Cold Case Task Force, and I just wanted to give a brief statement and announcement on that team. The Cold Case Task Force was formed in 2020. It has about 20 members, operates under an advisory board of 6 people. But the notable fact about the task force is that it operates as a nonprofit entity, which means that it can generate its own funding. That funding has been used over the last several years to pay for private laboratory testing, DNA extraction, and forensic investigative genetic genealogy. Recently, in the last 2 weeks, and you may have seen the Sheriff's Department media release, that testing led to the discovery and identification of a person who has been deceased for numerous years, over 40. And although it was not the news that his mother would have liked to have received, the Cold Case Task Force was able to notify his mother that his remains had been in the custody of Calaveras County since 1985, but we now did have her son, which means that she now has the closure that her son did not voluntarily abandon his family. So ultimately, the Cold Case Task Force has expended over $170,000 of community-generated funds, not county money, on that project. And the purpose of speaking today is just to say thank you to the community, thank you to the board. I recognize several people on the bench and in fact in the audience who have supported the annual November fundraiser for the team. We do have 3 profiles, DNA profiles, which have been assigned for genealogy, so there may be additional news forthcoming. But I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak for a moment on that, and most of all, thank you to the community of Calaveras. If there's no questions, thank you very much. It's absolutely a team effort. There's, like I said, about 20 people assigned, and they are the ones who make everything happen.
Captain, thank you. Thank you for the events that you put on. I mean, seeing the families that do get closure from this is unbelievable, and really appreciate, obviously, the work that you do. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your support.
Morning, Len.
Good morning, Board. I'm Lindy Groot. I'm your Information Technology Director, and I'm here today to give an update around broadband. At the end of last year, the California Public Utilities Commission awarded a $12 million grant to Comcast for broadband infrastructure. That's just a little more than a third of the $30 million that was allocated to Calaveras County under the federal funding account program. The remainder would likely be deferred to a second round that may or may not be funded depending on how the budget goes with the state this year. More importantly, the county partnered with Golden State Connect Authority to design an open access broadband fiber network that would leverage the full amount of the funding. This project will ensure a foundation from which broadband access can expand throughout the county and the Sierras. And so several county representatives, including members of the board, will be in Sacramento on Thursday to petition the CPUC to reconsider their recommendation and award the full funding to Golden State Connect Authority in round one. Several local leaders have also given video testimonials on the critical need for broadband in the county. Those will be sent directly to each commissioner in advance of the meeting. The public can help as well. We would like to urge as many people as possible to call in and make public comment this Thursday and support the Golden State Connect Authority project. Just a 1-minute comment from the public can make a huge difference. We have call-in information. Kathy, my colleague, has a flyer for people, and if anybody would like to get that information emailed to them, anybody who's watching at home, they are welcome to email me. That's at ldegroot, LDEGROOT, at calaverascounty.gov. Questions?
Anybody have any comments? Super, thank you.
Okay.
Morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Chair Huberty, Honorable Board, Kathy Galino, Economic and Community Development. And yes, I'm following up. I have the flyers here. And also, thank you very much to our clerk for getting up on the screen during your breaks the information on calling in for Thursday. The commission meeting starts at 11 a.m. Thank you, supervisors that will be joining Linda Groot and myself at that meeting. It's very important that the community have their voice heard, that this award gets funded through Golden State Connect Authority in Calaveras County. And it's an amazing project to really reach our upper and most vulnerable communities upcountry. And broadband is something that's needed not only for safety, public health, and for education. I want to thank our partners. So a lot of folks did provide video testimony, including our sheriff, Health and Human Services, Mr. Magana, Chief Johnson from Ebbets Pass, and many, many others, including OES. Thank you, Eric. So thank you, everyone. Please let your voice be heard. Have a good day.
Thanks, Kathy. Do we have any other staff announcements? Okay, well, we'll move on now to recognitions and acknowledgements, and I pass the gavel to Supervisor Hill.
Item 2, recognition and acknowledgments proclamation. Clerk of the Board of Supervisors proclaimed the week of February 14th through February 20th, 2025 as Kindness Week in Calaveras County and further deemed the county as a random acts of kindness zone.
This proclamation recognizing February 14th through 20th, 2025 as National Random Acts of Kindness Week. Whereas National Random Acts of Kindness Week will be observed February 14th through 20th, 2025, and Random Acts of Kindness Day is February 17th, 2025. And whereas Calaveras County has participated in Random Acts of Kindness Week since 2010. And whereas all who live and or work within Calaveras County are encouraged to practice random acts of kindness, a tradition started in Angels Camp by the Jim Bergantz family. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors, skipped. Yeah. Okay.
So you open it up for any comments?
Any public?
From the board?
Board.
And then the public.
Board, any comments?
Our first act of kindness, we'll start by thanking you for reading that.
Helping me fix it after the mistake. So kind. Any public comments? Hi, Tara.
I was around when Jimmy Bergantz came up with this wonderful idea. My mother used to fly over all the schools while the children stood out there in hearts And I think it's a fabulous thing, and it shows what a great county we are. So I think this is a fabulous proclamation. Thank you.
So I'm Jim Brigance. Some of you know that. I just want to thank the board, the county, for continuing to keep this thing alive for so many years, and to recognize that it's an important idea that we need to be kinder to one another and listen to one another. And just so as this thing goes on, the Calaveras County Office of Education has been a kind of a center for the kindness thing for the last, 10, 15 years or whatever. And so every year there's 2 or 3 individuals in Calaveras County that throw money at the County Office of Education, and we buy like thousands of these wristbands to promote kindness. So I brought some wristbands for you all to wear, to share and give away. There's some here for the community if you want. So I will give you those, but I just want to say thank you. I don't know of any other county that has done this, and I'm grateful to live in this county where it's important. And the City of Angels also does the same thing. So thank you to the board, thank you to the staff for taking this thing, keeping it going, and I hope that it makes a difference. That's my hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Jim, can I ask, how is Jill doing?
Jill's doing great.
Okay.
She's doing great.
She's normally here for this.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, if I could, really quickly, that this is kindness to others, but remember to be kind to yourself. You've got to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help others, too.
It's important that we take better care of ourselves and each other. I mean, really. So anyhow, thank you very much, board, and thank you. Okay.
Any other public comment?
Jim, don't leave. We need you for the picture.
Oh.
Sorry.
No? Okay. Whereas all who live and or work within Calaveras County are encouraged to practice random acts of, now therefore, be it resolved.
Sorry.
Vote.
We need to vote.
Okay. I'm learning.
Look at all the kindness there.
So you get a call for the vote this time because you act like chair.
I'll call. Okay. Call for a vote.
We have a motion.
Do we have the
I
motion?
so moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now.
Okay. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors designates the week of February 14th through the 20th, 2025 to be Kindness Week throughout the county. Be it further resolved that the Board of Supervisors declares that the County of Calaveras be deemed a random acts of kindness zone during the week of February 14th and continue through the 2025 year. Thank you.
Very much. And if anybody, if anybody wants more wristbands, the County Office of Education has some, or y'all can contact me. So thank you very much. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Thank you. Good job, everybody. Hey, good to see you. This is cool. Yeah.
Ready?
Thank you very much. Well, I'll be back next year. Okay.
All right.
Keep it going. Thank you very much.
We'll move on now to general public comment. Madam Clerk, could you read out?
Add any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas may be addressed during the public comment period. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. If public comment is completed before the 30-minute allotted period, the board may immediately move to the next order of business. If public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued as the last item of business in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of comments to be heard.
Thank you. Terry?
Good morning, Terry McBride, New California State Committee Chair, Senator for New California State, and the Senate pro tempore President of the This is a fascinating article about California's cash crisis. And basically, we're in default. I'm going to read a little bit of it. Governor Newsom issued 30-day notice to announce with California in a cash crisis, schools, counties, cities, and state agencies should have no expectation of full funding. This is government speak for we are about to default. This is written by Chris Street. He is the one that got Orange County out of their bankruptcy. He knows his business. And he also sat on the board to pull California out of default before. He knows what he's talking about when he writes this stuff. He is our chief financial officer. Anyway, the process known as issuing a budget letter came just 13 days after Newsom claimed in his January 10 budget proposal for the coming 25-26 fiscal year beginning on July 1st that the budget is balanced and reflects minor revenue growth over the 3-year budget window. Remember, I brought paperwork showing that was all a straight up lie. Here are some things that I think are quite important. This huge fire that's going on down there, a lot of it is due to state mismanagement, a lack of water. How'd you like to be that fire guy that went to turn on the spigot and there was no water coming out? Additionally, the state-sponsored FAIR plan, which many of us are on because we don't have a choice, the insurer of last resort was insolvent with $3 billion of assets to cover $8 billion of claims. With FAIR plan allowed to push losses to every insured property holder, did you know they can do that? MTT wanted every insured property in California is at the risk of a $5,200 assessment. Who's got that kind of extra money sitting in their pocket? That's what we're up with California, the state that it is right now. I've got this here. Anybody can look this up on Substack. It's called Mountaintop Times. It's quite good. He writes really excellent articles. Saturday, I gave you again because I didn't catch that. The time was off on the last one. But it starts at 11 and goes till 1. And this is where people can talk about their concerns about the elections because you see them, they're talking about making everybody have an ID, which we should have. And we need to go back to the Constitution. Did you know that the California Constitution was originally written in 1849 and got changed in 1879 to a progressive document? So you need to be aware of these things. This is why we're in the spot that we are in now. With New California, we have written a Constitution. Everybody will be allowed to vote on it. It's like our good USA Constitution. Please come Saturday. Find out why we are the answer. Trump is behind us. He knows what we're doing, and he supports us. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Morning. Is your comment about the animal shelter?
Lisa Medina checked and said that I just wanted to make a report to you. Just
perfect.
a
Okay,
piece of
thank you.
information.
Appreciate it.
So I understand about the agenda thing. Back in June, Gimme Shelter opened up a fund with the community, Calaveras Community Foundation, and I wanted to let you know that as of today, we are approaching $39,000 in that fund that we've raised for the new shelter. So that's how much support we have in this county. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Butner.
My name is Christopher Budner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. Ben, during the January 14th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting, you attempted to have portions of my public statement stricken from the published record of the meeting because my statement included, quoting you, allegations of malfeasance or whatever, and that you didn't hear burden of proof. For the record, County Council was compelled to verbally advise you in real time publicly of the fallacy of your attempt to suppress official acceptance of my comments in whole. Let's examine your concerns. Was it allegations of malfeasance or whatever when I stated you were officially warned of potential fines in 2019 due to your 2018 campaign finance violation of the Political Reform Act, with you having been classified by the Fair Political Practices Commission as a campaign non-filer in their case number 2019-00576? Was it allegations of malfeasance or whatever when I stated I had irrefutable evidence to submit a formal complaint to the FPPC about your persistent violations of the Political Reform Act as a campaign non-filer despite you having been warned in 2019 by the FPPC of the potential for consequences, including hefty fines? Is it allegations of malfeasance or whatever when I state that all 4 of last term's continuing incumbent supervisors are now subjects of concurrent, open, and pending FPPC cases for an assortment of campaign finance violations of the Political Reform Act? Since I last addressed this board 2 weeks ago, the FPPC published case number 2025-00042. That's the FPPC's newly open and pending case against Supervisor Stopper. Was it allegations of malfeasance or whatever when I stated you'd been caught on video by Calaveras County TV during the November 26, 2024 live stream of the Board of Supervisors meeting, surreptitiously texting with one of your constituents who was seated in this room, or that I had acquired evidence of your text message exchange from County Council by public records request, or that your constituent had a matter with beneficial property tax implications coming before this board into agenda items later in that meeting, or that you ethically should have recused from voting due to an appearance of conflict of interests stemming from your constituent relationship. My fact pattern reveals I've repeatedly met your burden of proof. You now realize you face potentially tens of thousands of dollars in fines for multiple flagrant campaign finance violations of the Political Reform Act. The FPPC explicitly warned you, don't do this again. You did. I caught you. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. Thank you. Stacy, would you please give these copies of the statement to everybody on the desk?
Do we have any further public comment? We'll move on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk?
Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request the removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion.
Does any board member wish to remove any items?
Chair, I don't need to remove any, but I will abstain from voting on the December 10th minutes as I was not present.
Thank you. Any member of the public would like to pull an item?
Item 5, Chair, specifically sub-item E.
So that's item 5, correct?
Item 5.
Great.
E, 5E.
Anyone else? I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move.
Second.
With the removal.
With the removal of, yes. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4. Do I say 4-0 then because of, yeah, thank you. One abstention. So we'll sing on.
Yeah. Yeah, 5-0 on all but 3, which passed 4-0-1.
Thank you. We'll bring item 5 up now.
Item 5, action item, Clerk of Board of Supervisors, appointment of applicants to serve on various committees, commissions, advisory boards, special districts, and county service areas.
Mr. Buckner.
My name is Christopher Budner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. During the January 14, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting, District 1 Supervisor Tofinelli stated the D1 position on the Calaveras Fish and Game Commission had been empty for a while. I've since learned this Calaveras Fish and Game Commission position was vacant for 8 years and after a prolonged gap and neglect had attracted a well-qualified candidate for the county's consideration for appointment. The appearance of a dark horse candidate for this position announced by Supervisor Tofinelli during the last Board of Supervisors meeting took attentive observers by surprise. Improbably, after 8 years vacant, this position suddenly attracted attention and candidacy from a second individual at the 11th hour on January 14, 2025, from applicant Eric Holt, Director of the Calaveras Office of Emergency Services. This matter serves as a valuable civics lesson in participatory local government, providing an example and examination of the intentional lack of transparent administrative practices by this Calaveras government. Any extra time Holt may have for another position would be better spent serving the unmet needs of Calaveras citizens, hardening the county's built-in natural infrastructure against potential man-made and natural disasters, and focusing on preparing and maximizing critical resources required and anticipated for the county's inevitable response and recovery efforts. Perhaps Holt, in his role as Director of OES, might invest any extra available time toward mitigating the unnecessarily elevated risk of catastrophic fire posed to the community of Arnold and the surrounding inhabited and uninhabited areas within the Stanislaus National Forest by the new Tesla supercharging station that was inexplicably approved for installation and is now operational behind Meadowmont Center. Now I need to remind you that Calaveras is in the top 10 of California's most wildfire-prone counties, having the unfortunate distinction as one of the top 4 counties in America with the highest cancellation rates of homeowners insurance. Perhaps Holt might, in any extra time available, accompany a county engineer on periodic structural inspections of our aging local tourist attractions, such as our 3 local caverns, long-cherished internationally renowned attractions where visitors from around the world arrive with an expectation of Calaveras public safety vigilance. Diluting Holt's primary job as director of the Calaveras Office of Emergency Services by adding the responsibility for representing D1 on the Calaveras County Fish and Game Commission, I respectfully argue may jeopardize public safety. My name is Christopher Budner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com.
Mr. Holt.
I'd just like to say I just moved here in May, so I don't know about the prior 8 years, but I'm applying as a taxpaying citizen of D1. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the board?
Just that the Fish and Game Commission's been really solid. I've been on the representative for the past 6 years for the board. There's been a few times within that 6 years that a few District 1 people have processed through. They have not stayed solid. And when we have these meetings, it's not during work hours, it's later in the day. So this would not conflict with any work time for said individual. And I'm very happy if it's Mr. Toffnelli's recommendation to support him as.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Toffnelli?
Yeah, I just want to thank both applicants that filed for this, and there are 2 open positions. One is for District 1, one's for just a general public member. I appreciate both of them coming forward. It has been a long time since District 1 has had somebody on this commission, and so with that, I would move this item.
Do I need to ask for more public comment? Is there any other public comment? Thank you. Sorry, do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. We'll move on now to the regular agenda. Madam Clerk, item number 13.
Item 13, informational item, Administrative Office, received an update from LDA Partners regarding the design and construction documents for the new animal shelter.
Oh, where am I going? Guess I'm moving up.
Yes, thank you.
It's on, and then just use the arrows to go forward.
And this on?
You're on.
Oh, it was on. Try it again. There you go.
Am I good now?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Eric Wool. I'm with LDA Partners, and we're here to give you an informational update on the animal shelter. It's been a few months since I've been here before. but I wanted to kind of give you just kind of where we're at right now and kind of go over a cost estimate that we completed with a third party. All right, we're going to try this again.
That's better. Thank you.
So I want to kind of start off by kind of reiterating what the project goals were when we started the project. One is to create a facility that really encapsulated the modern needs and modern sheltering techniques and processes. We want the facility to be extremely durable, energy efficient, and most importantly, provide comprehensive animal care. As we go through the process, we want to focus on being effective for both the staff and the animals we serve, and maybe most importantly, that this will be cost effective. So we're not trying to build a Taj Mahal, we're trying to build something that is very cost effective, but really meets the needs and citizens, meets the animals and the animals and the citizens of Calaveras County. So to kind of remind you where we left off our program, our total building is roughly about 10,800 square feet, and it breaks down into different areas. So our public area is roughly around 2,150 square feet, dog habitat's 3,000 square feet, the cat habitat's just under 1,500 square feet. Staff areas, that's where offices for COs, directors, etc., roughly 1,500 feet, and the core support spaces another 2,700 feet. That gets us to our rough total of around 10,800 feet. We are located on the existing site, the existing facility. And as we've kind of gone through and organized our drawings, our first priority is the dog habitats. And so when we talked before was to establish an alternate strategy. Meaning we're going to get the price for the full build out, but we segregated the project into the dog habitats first and foremost, and then the rest of the building. That way we can get an accurate assessment of what the cost is for each part of that facility. To kind of refresh everyone, this is the existing site. We have the focus trailer, we have some storage containers, and existing admin modular building. Our new building overlay on the top of the existing, you kind of see where the footprint is in relation to all the existing structures out there. And so you can see it's quite larger in size, and that's to accommodate different levels of care that we're trying to achieve. This is the floor plan that we have, and so you can see the different colors, how it's kind of broken out. The area on the left in the blue, that's really the dog habitats and that core function area. So that would include an area for mechanical, plumbing systems, and electrical systems. That's part of that core structure. The area in green on the right, that would be our deductive alternate. And so the way we've structured our bid, is we're going to get the cost for the whole facility. What we're also going to do is deductive alternate, which is what is the deductive cost of the area in green. And so when the project comes back to the board of supervisors, you can decide, should we just build the dog area or should we build the entire facility? That gives us the most flexibility and gives you the most flexibility to determine how we want to move forward. One of the comments we heard before was to keep it relatively simple and straightforward. We're not trying to introduce any fancy forms, we're just kind of keep very simple gables, building blocks, try to get very cost effective for construction. And this is kind of where we're at from our cost standpoint. We sent this project out to a third party estimator. And then we get that estimate back from them. Then we base that or index that against what we have on our own data mine. And then the third part of that is we talk to local contractors as well. So we have a number of animal shelters that are both in construction and design. We're talking to those contractors directly so we can see what those actual costs are in the real world today. So that we have a very good understanding of where we see the costs coming in at. We've broken out this estimate between CSI division, that's Construction Specifications Institute. They organize different trades in the construction industry, and this broken out even further by site costs and building costs. And then even further again from the hard cost and the soft cost. The hard costs are what the contractor is paying for. Those are the elements of the building construction itself. The soft costs are things that are not physically attached to the building, or professional fees, permit fees, furniture, things of that nature. And then we also add other costs, which I put on there for project contingencies, estimates for escalation going into the future. And that's how we get our overall total project cost. So to kind of break this down, is our overall site, we're expecting to spend roughly about $1 million. That is for grading, bringing in the utilities, resizing utilities, additional power. The building construction itself is roughly about another, $7.2 million. We've also broken down the contractor general conditions. That's essentially the cost of the contractor doing business, his overhead and profit, the insurance and bonds, and typically contractors will throw in a contingency in their number to cover unforeseen items as well. That gets us a total construction cost of just over $8.5 million. And again, this has been also checked against other contractors that have active shelter projects in the state of California. So that gets our total construction hard cost, again, of roughly $8.5 million. Our soft cost, those are things that for materials inspections, fees, that's roughly $1.7, and there's just under $1 million in project contingencies. That gives us a total estimate for a total project, hard cost and soft cost and contingencies of just over $11.2 million. And with that, I'd open up to any questions that the board may have.
Do you have any questions? I do.
Sure.
Quick fencing. Is the fencing, because I know the outdoor areas are just as important as the inside.
Correct.
I didn't see that broken down in the hard costs. Are they included, or is that?
Yes, that's included within the site cost, Division 32 exterior improvements. So we are fencing around the entire site. Along the front, where we're using the building as a fence, if you will, around the rear of the site that all is enclosed. In the back of the house, there is also a secure area for staff.
Got it. Thank you. And landscaping?
Yes. Minimal landscaping, primarily for the front of the building, the public frontage, or the front by the parking lot.
Okay. Thank you. And if we could go back to the blueprint of the proposed building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused with the cat suites in the middle. At the moment, we have 5 cat suites, and it looks like in the proposed, we're only getting 3. And are those, it's difficult for me to explain, but there are 2 cat suites and there are 2 small rooms behind the cat suites. Are those cat suites as well?
So the cats are broken into different types of cat habitats. So we have main cat adoption. Those are kind of more front and center. Cat flexible areas depending upon an influx of kitten season. Areas for catios, those are more communal housing, and they are interior, exterior. So the animal can go outside and habitat outside and also come in to be safe. There's also areas for isolation and quarantine. And so those are kind of in the left where that cat prep area is. There's a PPE room. Basically, it's a negative pressure room. So you go in and it doesn't contaminate the rest of the facility. And so those are more for quarantine areas.
So, for example, we've had hoarding situations where all of a sudden they have to take on 88 cats.
Yes.
How does that work with this?
The flexible area. So cat habitats are typically two-sided. In extreme conditions, when you have an influx or something like you just described, they can be shut down. And so those habitats where they have 2 compartments, they can be closed down so that each compartment acts as its own. That allows you for a temporary doubling of cat habitats. It's not recommended for a long term, but in cases of extreme, that's what happens.
And then could you explain the dog section and how many dogs will we be able to accommodate?
Mm-hmm. So the dogs are broken up a little bit similar as well. So we have both a lot of flexibility in our dog habitats. We have areas strictly for puppies because puppies are housed differently for larger dogs. Most adult dogs are housed in individual kennels. A typical kennel is a total of 4 by 12, and it's divided in half. So they have an area where they can go interior or exterior, or more closely where they can live and habitate, and another section where they can kind of do their business. We don't want to have them eating and sleeping where they're going to the bathroom. So we have different sections of dog habitats. The puppy area, the small dogs, that's typically cages. The kennel area, we have both all interior kennels and both interior and exterior kennels. The all interior kennels, which is kind of right in the middle, that has large kind of garage doors. I kind of characterize this as doors kind of like you'd see in a fire station, roll-up doors that can open up, get the fresh air, and get the natural environment in. We do that, one, because it's very cost effective. The other types of habitats we have over on the left-hand side are more flexible areas. Those are interior, exterior, where one half of that kennel, one 4x6 side is interior. There's a guillotine door or a saloon door that allows them to go outside. So the other half of that kennel is on the exterior. There's also areas for quarantine. Typically, the quarantine areas are also segregated. That's a negative pressure mechanical system, again, to prevent disease spread and for disease control. That's over on the top here. And then there's other flexible areas for individual, maybe just a simple single room or small kennels. With dogs, we try to not keep a lot of dogs in a one habitat. We try to limit that to 8 at the very most. That's for noise control, disease control, and to reduce the stress on the dog itself. You can imagine how when all the dogs start barking together, how loud and stressful it can be, not only for the dogs, but for the humans. And so that's why we compartmentalize in that way.
Yeah, I visited your facility that you designed in Elk Grove, and I just thought it was genius. And
Thank
when
you.
you walk into our shelter, it's just a cacophony of dog barking. And when you walk into the shelters that you've designed,
We're hoping to make it better.
awesome. One other question regarding the design: the small mammals, do they get any natural light? I know I was talking to Michael yesterday, and he's got hamsters and turtles
Yes.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the small mammals is one of those, they're sometimes often forgot about, but that's kind of we use it for, rabbits, guinea pigs. Sometimes we'll put some reptiles in there, depending on space. We generally try not to keep predators with their prey together, but sometimes we have to make exceptions. But for natural light, the way we do that is solar tubes. And so it may not have a direct window, but we have essentially a sealed skylight, for lack of a better term, that brings that natural light into the space. We like the solar tubes as opposed to skylights. Skylights have a tendency to leak. Solar tubes are factory sealed, and so they do not leak.
Thank you. And a last question that I have is can we get started on the site work while we're raising money to?
That's probably a question I have to get back to you on and how we would structure that bid. Okay. It's not packaged that way currently. There could be some benefits, from pros and cons in doing that.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. Sorry. Supervisor Toffenelli.
I do. This seems to just be dragging on, so I'll just be straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Architectural and structural drawings. When can we expect to see those so we can go out for a bid on this thing?
I would expect that we have a couple of things that we need to clean up still, primarily related to site and with the utilities. When we get that,
we let a contract in May, so we've had all this time to clean all that up. This keeps dragging on. Can we just get it done?
It is.
Give us architectural and structural drawings so we have a package to go get bids on, so we can get this thing construction.
Yes.
Because every day you're waiting and we're waiting, costs are going up.
I understand, and this is one of our top priorities to get out the door.
So, in a month, 30 days from now, 60 days?
I would prefer, but this is also for discussion. I think it'd be best for the county to go through plan check, at least have one round of plan check before it goes out to bid. That's obviously up to the discretion of the county.
Those for plan check.
Correct.
So I'm waiting to know when we're going to have structurals and architecturals, so we can.
I have a progress set already put together. We're not 100% complete. I would say we're probably around 85% complete right now.
So, time frame, 30, 60, 90?
If you put me on the spot, I would say probably, I think a month is probably accurate then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Yes. Please come to the. Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry, your presentation was difficult to hear.
Sorry.
And you speak very quickly. This print is very small. So is this information going to be available
It is
online?
available. If you go online with the board, it's in the agenda packet for today.
Okay, because I looked at the agenda packet a couple of days ago and I didn't find anything.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
should be able to find it. It's there.
Okay, thank you.
If you have any problems, let me know.
Yeah,
I'll help you.
okay.
Lisa.
Hello, good morning again. Lisa Medina, Environmental Management Agency. I just would like to thank, on behalf of CCAS staff, our volunteers, the commitment by our public and our different entities that support us, Focus, Guinea Shelter folks, and everybody else, staff mostly here. They're here to support this endeavor. This has been an ongoing, heart-wrenching, heartfelt, everything emotional around this whole subject for years. Eric and his crew have been wonderful. They listen to staff, they listen to the public, they've listened to Focus, our other volunteers, and they're key on, as you stated before, they build the best shelters in California, and there's a testament to that. The Elk Grove shelter is incredible. All we want is just something that our animals will be safe in. We're looking for the best standards of care, something that is good for our county, and that's exactly what they have presented. And they listen to us. We've been having ongoing meetings, sometimes weekly, and they have made and assured us that this project will be in the best interest of our Calaveras family of animals. So thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Lisa. Alex? I was going to say, Alex, do you want to, you can do it from there. Well,
Can't hear it, don't worry.
even, I thought if
okay.
that speaker was good enough to pick it
It's
up.
okay. It's okay.
I just have a comment, and thank you, Mr. Tofinelli, for pressing that, because it's been months, and also I'm very excited about this project, but I couldn't hear either very well. So I'm hearing 8 million now for the dogs, and I just thought it was 7, but I couldn't hear what was very much what was going on.
Eric, could you clarify that?
Sure.
Please? 'Cause yeah.
No problem. I'll try to speak a little bit slower and louder.
Alex, if you can stay here so you can hear.
So the total for the whole build out for construction cost is just over 8.5 million.
Okay, including cats.
Including the cats, the admin, exactly.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Because that was a bit scary. Another million added.
Yeah.
Any other public comment? Thank you, Eric. This is an informational.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions from the board?
I think we're done.
Okay.
Supervisor Stopper, do you want to come? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
I have some copies of the presentation being brought over. If you just want to wait a moment, I have some copies of
So we'll move on to item 14. Madam Clerk.
Item 14, informational item, Administrative Office, receive an update from the Calaveras Visitors Bureau on tourism promotion activities.
I'm going to. I was just going to wait till this comes down to Sahara and then just. So Supervisor.
Thank you.
Supervisor Stopper, I'm an employee of the Visitors Bureau, so I'm going to step out while the presentation is maybe I can hand the gavel to Ms. Quinn.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors, CEO.
Stacy, did we read out for 14?
Yes, we did.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors, CEO Hitchcock, County Council, Stacy and Susan, good morning.
Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll try to speak a little bit louder.
Does the other microphone work better?
They're both on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My name is Jessica Johnson. I'm the admin manager with the Calaveras Visitors Bureau. And thank you, Board, for the opportunity to give the quick update from the CVB regarding our tourism promotion efforts and the opportunity to introduce the CVB to Supervisor Andal. Our mission statement, the Calaveras Visitors Bureau, is the Calaveras County's core tourism organization dedicated to creating long-term sustainable economic growth for the region and its partners through innovative tourism programs and promotions and partnerships. This presentation reflects our mission, vision, and values that support the county's strategic plan while serving our visitors and local community to the best of our ability. We aim to keep our transient occupancy tax totals as high as possible to help support public safety and market our incredible county. And in December, Calaveras hit just over 50% of its mid-year budget goal for TOT, and we do expect to achieve at least 100% of that goal by the end of the fiscal year in June. The CVB board is a well-rounded group of local business owners, business and community leaders, business association and housing directors, lodging managers, marketing director for Bear Valley, and for the Calaveras Big Tree State Park. And our staff includes a longtime resident who, with her husband, built half of Arnold in the 60s. It includes a retired history teacher, a school board member, college student that grew up here in Calaveras County. So all people who are fully vested in this county and seeing the success of the county, as well as preserving the unique character and special way of life we have here. The operations of the CVB, we are open 7 days a week in Angels Camp from 9:30 to 4:30, and our office in Murphy's is open 5 days a week from 10 to 4. In 2024, we greeted 14,000 visitors, and we fielded thousands of phone calls, simple questions asking for directions or asking about events, to funny phone calls like if the Murphy's Hotel is haunted year-round, or when the times are for Parrots Ferry. So, but then we also have some more serious situations where we were able to help a visitor. Her husband was up in Bear Valley with their small children, and he was hurt and needed to get medical attention, but couldn't take the ambulance because he couldn't leave his children. But she didn't have a vehicle to get up to Bear Valley, and so she called us, and then she came in, and we were able to find a local contact that could get her up to Bear Valley and reunite with her family. So that was an important phone call. I'm glad we were available for them. The Visitors Bureau and the Film Commission are funded by the transient occupancy tax from both Calaveras County and the City of Angels Camp. The CVB also receives $50,000 from the City of Angels towards the operation of the Angels Camp Museum. This stipend, along with the admissions and membership to the museum, pay for the operations, museum staffing, exhibits, and maintenance of the museum. The profit from the sales of the gift shop go to the CVB. There are currently 10 part-time and 2 full-time employees for both the offices and for the museum, and there are currently 11 board of director positions. Also a representative from the county and the City of Angels Camp. In California, California remains the top travel-related destination in the country right now. And in 2023, the CVB, we posted our 2023 numbers. The 24 numbers won't come out until April, and then we can share those with you in May when we have those. But you can see from this graph, it's a $154 billion industry in the state of California with 1.2 million people employed. Dean Runyon is, they collect the numbers for California for all of the counties, and as you can see, since 2019, visitor spending has increased year over year, and then again in May we'll have those numbers for you for 2024. So The CDB, we receive the TOT from the county and from the city of Angels Camp, and we spend 12% on the overhead, 25% on payroll, and 63% on the marketing. And then the marketing dollars, it's broken down. These are what we do with that money: print ads, radio, visitors guide, the social media, the data tracking, the fam trips, which are the travel writers, and the website, software subscriptions, and so forth. Placer AI is our location analytics tool that we use, and this is available with our county rep and our city rep both have access to this tool. And what this shows us is where visitors are coming from, where they're going, what they're doing. So for instance, that kind of W-looking one is Bear Valley. These are a few of our location or points of interest that we track. But you can see how we can tell people are there, obviously, in the winter to ski, and then they kind of, July, come up for maybe the music festival, then it kind of dies down, and then it goes back up again in the winter time. So some of what we market, obviously, is our outdoor beauty, natural beauty, Calaveras Big Trees, the caves, hiking, camping, fishing, biking, the snow sports, and then our events like Frog Jump, obviously, coming up, Lumberjack Day and Grape Stomp. We also like to talk about our innovative and award-winning lodging. So like CV Properties, they're working on getting more lodging to come in and more workforce housing. Posterity Cider Works in Moke Hill, they're at 2 Michelin star restaurants. And then Hitcher House, they're winning international and national awards in their industry awards, and as well as the community theater and the music and concert scene. The way that we market is a breakdown: the print ads, Sacktown Magazine, USA Today, Marin Magazine, Yosemite Guide, the Pine Tree, NorCal Beer and Wine Magazine. It's an insert that goes to 13 different newspapers in Northern California. So the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Jose Mercury News, and so forth. The TV and radio, we have ads with NPR. We did 2 shows with Jeremy Maupin of PBS. He's sort of like a let me say his name. Hill Howard. I can't say his name properly. Thank you. Sort of like that. But 2 shows that he did were, one last year was The Fair, and then the other was Paws Angels Camp Museum. We also took over the KCRA homepage for 4 spring events last year. Travel influencers and writers, we had Tom Wilmer of NPR, other travel writers there. Randy Yagi is he's a national travel writer for CBS. We had 9 Black travel writers from the Black Travel Writers Alliance come through. And Voyage is a magazine in France, so we're also hosting international travel writers. We're getting that exposure. Community events, we've invested our COVID savings, the rest of it, in sponsoring community events. We've also attended community events. I can say that the first weekend in December was 24 Hours of Christmas because we were in Murphy's, and then I was in Valley Springs, and then I was in Angels Camp, and it was a blast. It was wonderful. But we are also working on bringing back events like the March 20 Wild West Festival and Taste of Calaveras with the Calaveras Wine Grape Alliance. Just to kind of expand on that a little bit, we found that the events are a huge draw to people to come up to the county and visit. Our unique events are that's what's looked at most on our website, as well as the outdoor attractions, so Calaveras Big Trees and the caves. So then our visitor's guide, we distribute 50,000 copies, and approximately 80,000 are downloaded from the website. The visitor's guide it's a pay to play. Essentially, those who want to be in it and support it are in it. So if anyone's interested, please contact me. We'd love to include everyone that wants to be involved. But our digital marketing, we do have free online listings for all tourism-based organizations. So again, if you're interested in having that, it's free. Please contact me. I'd love to get that up for anybody who doesn't have that going. We create 48 blogs per year and 28 to 31 social media posts per month. We now have social media in-house as of July. We're doing that through our office. And the blogs and the social media focus on itineraries, the community events, outdoor attractions, individual industries, and the personal connections. People like to see Mike Croshaw from Angels Market, for example. Continuing education, the executive director attends up to 3 of these main conferences: the Outlook Forum, One West, and One West Tech Summit, which I will be going to since I'm now doing the social media, and I'll be attending that in March. And these conferences are all run by Visit California and the One West Tourism Alliance. The Film Commission hosted and sponsored the Wild and Scenic 2024 Film Festival. We also had Property Brothers come in with HGTV, Homestead Rescue with the Discovery Channel, Ranch America on the Outdoor Channel, and then in May of 2025, we'll have the Forest and Wildfire Film Festival. I also want to take the opportunity to thank Administration CEO Hitchcock, Kathy Galino at the Econ Development for streamlining the film permitting process. It's made things a lot easier. So 2025, we want to continue to increase the awareness locally, domestically, and internationally of what Calaveras has to offer, collaborate with local lodging partners and businesses to create programs and packages to encourage extended stays, and invest time and CVB funds into local events, and continue to look for innovative and successful ways to market the county. Much of our success is due to the partnerships we have with these organizations. We are partners with, or we're now partnering with Michelle Plotnick with the Ebbets Pass Scenic Byway this year, and our executive director is working with Alpine County to get some TOT funding for the Ebbets Pass Scenic Byway marketing from Alpine County. So as with all of our partnerships, the goal, other than marketing Calaveras, is to reduce duplicated work and make efficient use of our resources. Our focus now going into 25 is to invite the engaged visitors to come to Calaveras to visit safely, respectfully, and responsibly while creating lifetime memories for them and maintaining the unique quality of life that we find here in Calaveras. With that, try to answer questions.
Anyone?
I don't have any questions. Just thank you for your presentation.
Yes, thank you.
We've gone back and forth over the years, so I'll try to keep this as smooth as possible, out of respect. This started some years ago, as you're familiar with, us on the west side with our perspectives that, the services were more to the east side, which, is a fact. But beyond that, you had stepped it up. I think that, as an outlook for the people on the west side of the county, you should state more of what you actually do over there, because you say like lumberjack days. I mean, you stayed MoCA. You left 2 districts completely out of this, District 1 and District 5. But I do know that you showed up and helped support the Raging Cajun Festival. Probably should put that on.
As well as the the Valley Springs Christmas Parade and Craft Fair.
And those are both things that you do, but they're not here. And that's part of selling Calaveras County as a whole that we requested. So I do know you did it. I'm not saying you aren't doing it, but part of that is continuing to put it on the face along with the rest of the county. And I would hope I would see that, and that would help me when I make my decision at the end of the year on where the TOT taxes are going. Because we definitely are, so to say, the redheaded stepchildren of the county.
I am making a very concerted effort to include a lot of more on social media. I hope that you're seeing that. I personally am going in.
A certain degree. but you know, when you write this out, and just this kind of portrays what you put on social media and your website to a certain degree, because that's where you are. So don't forget those and put them up there, and then that's all I'm saying. You know, because you do make an effort. You made a concerted effort, and you know, this would take it the extra mile that I'm looking for.
Trustee, sir.
Thank you for your presentation. It was very well done. I kind of echo what Supervisor Stopper has to say. It would have been kind of nice to put the Valley Springs Crafts Fair and parade in here and just acknowledge the west end of the county in those districts, that you are there. It's out there for the people, much like you're advertising here. Although I thank you, you guys do a fantastic job. You really do a good job in promoting Calaveras as a whole. So thank you.
Public comment? Or Ms. Follendorf, real quick, did you have anything? Okay.
My name is Christopher Budner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. In previous appearances before the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors, while addressing matters specifically related to the Calaveras Visitors Bureau being the recipient of public funds sourced from county transient occupancy taxes, I've been critical of the CVB's persistent misportrayal of its economic benefits to the county and its statistical manipulations employed to sidestep facts behind the county's annual tourism revenue stagnation. The CVB's repeated boasts of having produced outstanding economic value and returns relative to the county's TOT investment appear to routinely minimize or dismiss annual inflationary impacts that would otherwise be calculated utilizing the federal government's Consumer Price Index for inflationary adjustment. The fiscal year 2025-2026 budget cycle will soon take center stage during several springtime Board of Supervisors meetings. According to ledger reports I've received from County Council in response to my public records requests, cumulative TOT contributions dispersed from Calaveras County's Treasury to the CVB far exceeds $2 million since mid-2019, when current Calaveras County Board of Supervisors Chair Martin Huberty assumed the role as CVB's executive director. It is unacceptable that Martin has been holding two full-time positions. One is fully funded by the taxpayers and the other partially funded by taxpayers. I intended to be standing at this podium requesting Martin provide written evidence of a very specific statement appearing in the July 10, 2024 CVB Board of Directors meeting minutes. That statement I'm now quoting is, "Visit California says inflation does not affect those numbers." Instead, I just want to hear Martin announce today that he's resigning as the executive director of the Calaveras Visitors Bureau, that he may focus his full attention on the demands of the role of 2025 Calaveras County Board of Supervisors Chair. Notably, one of those demands is the daunting reality that all four of last term's continuing incumbent supervisors, with Martin leading the charge, are now under state scrutiny, having all concurrently been subjects of open and pending Fair Political Practices Commission cases for an assortment of campaign finance violations of the Political Reform Act. My name is Christopher Budner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. Thank you. Stacy, would you please give my statements to everybody on the dais? Thank you.
Galina.
Good morning, Vice Chair Stopper and Honorable Board. Kathy Galino, Economic and Community Development. Jessica, thank you so much for the work you do. We've traveled many places from Love Creek to Valley Springs. Love the article about the horse trails, the equestrian trails we have around our lakes. I'm a horsey girl. And also want to share that the CVB has also worked with the Parks and Rec Commission in providing access to their calendar. So we now calendar local parks and recreation events that are happening, Little League signups, soccer signups, it's a great partnership with the other agencies and Parks and Recreation. So thank you.
It's one after my heart. Thank you.
Yes, very excited to partner with that. It's great.
Any further public comment? Bring this back to the board. You know, it's just an update, informational item. Is there any further things? I mean, I, for one, you know, voicing the concerns, but thank you for the work you've done. We have seen progressive steps in representation. I do want to acknowledge that. Love to see more. That's where I'm going with it.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll hand it back to you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Stopper. So we'll move on to item 15, Madam Clerk.
Item 15, action item, behavioral health. 1, receive a presentation from the Mental Health Advisory Board. 2, accept the annual report of the Calaveras County Mental Health Advisory Board for the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024. And 3, approve updated 2024 bylaws.
Hi, my name is Mark McCormick. I'm the chairperson of the Behavioral Health Advisory Board. Worked for Calaveras County Behavioral Health for a lot of years as a therapist first and then as a supervisor, and I've been retired for about 5 years. Here today to discuss the annual report and the bylaws. And we're a board we're mandated to develop an annual report as part of reviewing with Calaveras County Board of Supervisors the performance and the needs of behavioral health. And really happy to be a part of this. I think this is such an important area of need in the county. And you know, it's really important to review what Calaveras County Behavioral Health is doing. So, kind of broken this down in regard to review of the board and review of the agency, with the review of the agency really being the key. Basically, I really feel good about our board. I think we have the right amount of numbers, and we've been able to get. Proposition 1 came in over the last year, and it encourages local boards to have representatives from the educational system, of a young adult member who is a consumer, called transitional age youth. And there's always been an encouragement to have somebody involved with Veterans Services, and we're able to get those people. And I think we have a good board made up of both interested community members and consumers and family members who really have some interest and awareness in behavioral health. And so I won't go into our issues a lot in the interest of time. But again, you can ask questions at the end. I'm really wanting to focus on behavioral health as an agency. And I think two of the things that kind of jump out for Calaveras County Behavioral Health is that, one, the challenge of being a rural mental health program in a rural county where the state is looking at all these counties and developing programs based on not only LA and huge counties, but, you know, counties like San Luis Obispo County that have just a lot more people, a lot more money, a lot more services. And I think one of the struggles of a small county is you only have so many administrators, so many therapists, so many people to do a limited amount of, an extensive amount of work with just a few people. So it's a challenge. And I think it's also a challenge to be one of the agencies that is both kind of a mix of county and state directed, and there's challenges within that. So one big strength that I see that has been happening there for a lot of years and has been continued on by Director Wendy and the staff is there's great creativity, there's thinking outside the box, and I think that that is how the agency has really been able to work well on doing a lot of things despite limited clinical services. And some of that is with the Behavioral Health Services Act. So as we go to accomplishments, there's just a wealth of accomplishments that the program has done. And I won't go into a lot of specifics, but there's just a tremendous amount of programs that I mentioned as part of the Behavioral Health Services Act. And it's just a great law that offers funding to just provide help in a variety of services, both ongoing service-wise and also with a lot of prevention and help with other agencies. There's a lot of new and ongoing programs. One of the biggest, which is just in process, is having funds now to build a new building, which is it's after so many years, and it's just a tremendous thing, and that's moving forward. And then there's the Behavioral Health Bridge Housing Project, which offers funds for housing for consumers who might be homeless or at risk of homelessness. And as you know, there's not a lot of housing for low-income people in the community, other than maybe short term. And Calaveras County Behavioral Health does, through this project, does work with the short-term solutions, such as rentals, assistance, and both in and out of county homes and a motel. And they're, hoping to get more long-term housing solutions through this. And again, there's a variety of programs within that category. I think all of these programs have one of the real accomplishments is a wonderful collaboration with a lot of agencies. And that includes Sheriff's Department, the Educational Services, obviously Health and Human Services, and just a variety of programs through the Behavioral Health Services Act programs. So, and I think they're doing the best they can with what they have, including staffing successes. I think that despite some of the difficulties in getting staff, they're using, basically they have been able to get for the first time in years an on-site psychiatrist. And they have 2 interns. They have contracted with telehealth, and they, have incentives for the staff around funds through the Behavioral Health Services Act in regard to offering help with their college education costs. So that's great. I'm really wanted to focus a little more on challenges and some of our recommendations. I think one of the things that is the biggest thing to mention is there are administrative leaves of absences over 2024, and I think as a board we only know so much about the reasons for that, and really probably should only know that. But what we do know is that we could see this was an impact particularly when Director Wendy was on leave of absence. It was a great impact on their staff. There were a lot of questions, a lot of confusion, a lot of rumors, and a lot of stress. And we as a board had some of that, not to that degree, obviously, but some of the same kind of questions. What's going on? What's happening? Are we going to have this, something new? What are the reasons for this? What are we missing? Those kind of questions. So the hope is that gets worked out, however that can happen, so that the staff continues to move on and that doesn't get in the way of any of their work. And one of the pluses, which is a recommendation, but really more of a positive, is that the agency is working on developing a lot of programs to encourage staff cohesion and improve staff functioning that way. So I think that's really good. I think possibly one of the reasons for the leaves of absence, there's been a lack of administrative, in our minds anyway, a lack of administrative communication and transparency between the HHSA director and the director of behavioral health. And I think particularly on fiscal and budgeting issues. And we sort of saw that in regard to not getting some of our needs met in regard to, as a board, we want to know what's going on enough to really make some good decisions and input on how the agency's functioning. And we weren't able through the years to get as clear of a picture on, how were the contracts going, how things move fiscally. And part of the issue is that information wasn't moved down to the director. And so in our minds, that gets in the way of her ability to, make decisions for the agency, knowing the funding. And so we would hope that there's a remedy that way. For example, at some point, the fiscal division, at least some of it was with behavioral health, and there was a lot more coordination when that model was happening. There was a lot more coordination between behavioral health staff and particularly the director and fiscal staff. So there was it was easier to make decisions clinically, and the staff knew a lot more of what was going on. It might be something to consider going back to that. And, another recommendation was basically there's this Evergreen Solutions review that's going on with HHSA, and of course behavioral health is part of that, and that this issue just be looked at specifically as part of that review process. The other big issues, one is just this ongoing issue with just a shortage of clinical therapists. And we have talked about this for the last few years that I've given the annual reports. And it's basically the same reasons, that have been exacerbated by the pandemic. There's less people in the field. There's behavioral health is a very difficult position, and it's a lot of people decide they'd rather move into private practice. They'd rather go to a private nonprofit agency. They'd rather get more money in an urban area. There's all these reasons, but I think the most important thing is what can Calaveras County do about that, and our hope is that salary increases be looked at, incentives like occur with the sheriff's departments, and things like, some kind of additional funds for moving to a new area, that kind of stuff. And we support the agency continuing to look at telehealth services, even though there's a lot of work to be done with that. There's a lot of kinks to be worked out. And also to look at private nonprofit agencies. There's one of the great coordinations with the school is the wellness program at various schools, and that's done through behavioral health contracting with Sierra Child and Family Services, a private nonprofit agency, and we've worked with them, or the agency's worked with them a lot over the last 10 years maybe, and they've offered great services. And also there's less private therapists in the community that are doing minimal Medi-Cal services. There's been a loss in that, and that needs to be looked at. And also along with that, and maybe just as important or more important, is there's a shortage of mid-management supervision clinicians, supervising clinicians who play a big role in regard to supervising, particularly unlicensed clinicians, but they offer the day-to-day supervision. And for a long time there were two in addition to the director, and now there's none. And so that's a real limit, and I think it puts the agency at risk for not having enough licensed supervision, and it puts a great burden on the director, who has to, be available. I mean, she's going to be available for a lot of crisis situations anyway, but the day-to-day other, less serious issues that might come up, and when she has to deal with that, it takes her away from all the other things. So I think that's our recommendations on that mainly, and it'd be the same things, reaching out to, basically doing whatever it takes to get people, maybe doing part-time, maybe doing even a certain amount of phone supervision, although that's not ideal because it's not on site. So that's our recommendations at this point, and I thank you for letting us do that. I think I'll take questions on that before we move on, if you have any.
Does the board have any questions? Do we have any public comment? So this is an action item. Do I have a motion?
Well, we got a few things here. We got the bylaws. The rest is pretty much informational items. So the way I'm reading it is the bylaws are what we're voting on?
Oh, correct. But
do you want me to go into the bylaws next then?
No, I think we've all read them. Unless someone has a question out there.
Yeah. I was sorry, I was doing it all in one fell swoop. Do you have any issues?
No, I don't have any issues with the bylaws as I saw in the packet.
So I mean, if we're fine with the bylaws, I'll make a motion to approve the bylaws.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCoy.
Okay, in closing, I also just wanted to take the moment to thank Supervisor Gary for all your work with us over the last 3 years, and really appreciate that. And also wanted to thank Supervisor Ben for your involvement at least one time this year and your help. Appreciate that, and want to welcome you, Supervisor Martin, to our board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
So we'll move on to item number 16.
Item 16, action item, Public Works, select a slogan for the Clean California Keep Calaveras Clean project.
Supervisor, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Hubbard, before we get started.
Of course. Do you need to take a break?
No, I would like to pull this item off the agenda.
Oh, okay.
I think it's only fair because the COG board, and COG is very involved in this, in getting the grants to do the monuments. I think it's only fair they have a meeting coming up on Wednesday.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the following, to give them a chance to weigh in on this and possibly forward some of their recommendations on what we should look at for this naming of the slogan for the Keep Calaveras Clean project.
How does the board feel about that?
I, the chair of the COG, I will, whatever.
What Carrie said.
Yeah, well, what the board, if my board member is recommending that, I'm not gonna counter it. It's at their privy. I'm not gonna comment on it. If it, other than I will support if it does need to get on the agenda, and I will just need to modify the agenda for next week. If that day be the case.
I think we've already talked to Melissa about it, and we'll bring it back. Since it's next Wednesday, we'll be able to get it back on the agenda for our next board meeting.
Thank you.
So I just have a question for Kelly. Is there any issue with continuing this item to a future board meeting?
Absolutely not.
All right, perfect.
This was a grant that the Department of Public Works applied for, so and we're happy to present in front of the COG board. This is my board to bring this to, so.
Great, thank you. So we'll pull it and bring it back.
Sure, I support that too.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, we'll be tabling this to the February 11th.
Yeah, I think technically
we
should have a motion to continue it.
Right. Okay.
So if someone wants to make the motion, and then
make that motion?
Yes, I make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you, Kelly. We'll move on to item number 17. Madam Clerk.
Item 17, ordinance building, conduct a public hearing, adopt an ordinance repealing sections 17.17.090C and section 1718.080C of the Calaveras County Code to remove zoning code references to the repealed Cannabis Background Clearance Badge Program, authorize a summary publication of the ordinance, find ordinance exempt from CEQA.
Doug.
Morning, Chair, members of the board. Doug Oliver, Chief Building Official. What I bring to your board is a very simple cleanup item in our ordinance code. But there's a couple of areas that could be a little confusing, so I want to give you just a very brief rundown of the process of how we got here. Essentially, this item...
Excuse me, I'm supposed to open a public hearing, so we're opening a public hearing. Thank you.
Very well.
I apologize.
Okay. So this item ran concurrently with the previous item your board voted on to repeal the cannabis background clearance badges. However, this had to take a separate process because these two separate ordinance codes were in the zoning ordinance, which requires a path through the Planning Commission. So your Planning Commission heard this item on February 22nd of last year, and they considered the resolution to repeal these two code sections. However, at the time, the new zoning ordinance had not been adopted, and those code sections read as 1791-090C and 1795-080C. So the Planning Commission passed that resolution to your board, And then the zoning ordinance changed, so it went to 1717 and 1718 respectively. So that might be a little confusion there. The language, however, has not changed. Those ordinance codes read identical to the previous code sections. And therefore, the path is intact. We did not bring this item to your board with the last board item for the CBCB repeal because it was felt at the time, rightly so, that should we have brought this forward on the same day and the first item be struck down, then we'd be bringing you something that didn't need to be brought forward. So council wisely indicated we should hold off on that, so we're bringing it to you today. Essentially, this is a repeal of two code sections that merely say that if you're going to be a retailer or a cannabis cultivator, you are required to adhere to 9.22, which no longer exists. So what you'd be voting on is simply cleaning up ordinances that direct you to nowhere. So that's essentially the long and short of it. If there's any questions, I would like to say that I was working with the planning department on this for the entire path through to this point, and our planning director is in the back there if you have any questions for him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board?
Just thank you for the cleanup work. Appreciate it.
Is there any public comment on this issue? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Before there's a motion, I would just like to say, at least ask the two board members that prior voted against doing away with the badges and then came back and brought it back and voted to do it. Before we vote on this and eliminate it, I would like to ask if you guys would bring it back and rethink what you're doing about eliminating badges. If you're not, I'm going to vote no on this because of the fact I disagree. I think the badges was a good program. I thought it made it safe for everybody with the community, with some of these farms that are close by homes. So.
Thank you, Supervisor. I, for one, will stick with my vote, and I appreciate your concern, and thank you for bringing it up, but I will stick by my vote.
Does anybody else have anything to say? I'll make a motion.
I apologize for interrupting. You may have said, did you close the public hearing?
I have to close closing public.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion supporting the cleanup and removal of this in all ordinances as he stated, because I don't know if I can repeat it the proper way.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
4-1. Thank you, Mr. Oliver.
Chairman, before we go to the next item, can we take a 5-minute?
We'll have a 5-minute break.
Or 10
and we'll be
minute,
back
whatever.
At, say, 10:55.